Take 2 of this lobby for a Red Dota 2 League in-house game. Game 1 would have been interesting if we kept going. Everybody could hear each other. Maybe that should be a novelty game we play one time. As it is, we're waiting on bans. Now, players in this lobby, we got some in-house regulars in here, but we also have quite a few new faces that I at least haven't gotten the opportunity to see as of yet, so that will be good to take a peek, see how everyone performs. As it is in this in-house, we've got Swagasaurus for Radiant drafting, and then Wardmancer up on the Dire. Going to be handling that. Batrider removed right away. I'm always curious about these initial bans. Oftentimes, from my experience playing with various different people and watching various different drafts from the perspective of teams, often these first bans are kind of aimless. It is the fact, though, that if you're well thought out, you can have a cohesive plan. For example, the ban on the Batrider can lead to a Lifestealer pick if you're looking to grab him first pick. Lasso, very annoying if you're the Lifestealer. Nyx Assassin, removed. Dire bans out the Darkseer. Lost his name there for a second. But his first ban, you can angle yourself to try and position certain heroes to get through. As we see right now, it's not as much the case, though, right now, because so many heroes are high value that there are more variety in the first pick. But there was a time where it was really Batrider or Nyx Assassin. Those were the first picks. And if you wanted one of them, basically as first ban, what you could do was ban out something that you didn't care about, either that you didn't want to play against or a complete waste of a ban. You know, ban out first ban Meepo. That puts the second pick in the position of, if they don't want you to have one of those heroes, they have to ban out them both. So if they thought the Batrider was too important to give away, they'd have to ban it. And then if they do that, then that means they can't pick Nyx Assassin as second pick, for example. Keeper of the Light, the first pickup, as we see Lifestealer banned by Dire, not going to let that through after the Batrider ban. Again, could have been the thought process, or they just don't want to play against Lifestealer. Either way, not going to show his ugly mug in this game. We're going to see an IO in this one. That's one question that I'll be interested to see answered, is which one of these players on Dire is going to be the IO player. IO, one of those heroes where it's not the same as, say, playing a general support. You know, if you're playing Lion, it's not all that different from playing, say, Lina. It's not a huge difference. Of course, they have very different skill sets, but how you approach the game is kind of similar. IO, very different feel as a support. So some love it, some not so comfortable. Phantom Lancer going straight. Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer, the combination. Phantom Lancer got a bit of a nerf in 6.78. His illusion's now only doing 20% damage instead of 25%. But still, that early game, basically no difference in the early game, not using the illusions. So the Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer combination, as potent and annoying as ever. Every 8 seconds, throwing out that Spirit Lance. Upon the Dire, we're going into the next set of 2 bans each. So far, I think I'm liking the way this works out. The new Captain's Mode order in 6.78. It puts a little more nuance to these second sets of bans, because almost always in those first 3, you'd end up having a team who gets one of their roles filled out clearly, and that ends up being what they ban against. So, for example, and it's obvious which role that the other team needs to fill out themselves. So, you see Dire here has their supports picked out. They could be just banning out supports, but they also remove Clockwork. It's less clear at the second ban phase what direction your opponent is going. So you can have a bit more strategy. There's a bit more strategy to selecting heroes that might counter what you want to do, as opposed to just blanket trying to block out what a role they need to fill. Tiny going to be the IO combination, as Chaos Knight is banned by Radiant along with Magnus. Dire removed the Clockwork and the Rubik. Often in your teams, you can see you usually get either or with Shadow Demon or Rubik. At level 1, if you get them both, there's no burst, as you're pretty much always getting telekinesis on Rubik. That's his big disable and repositioning ability. Shadow Demon wants to start with Disruption. Jakiro selected by Swagasaurus for the Radiant. I'm interested in this pick because often we've been seeing Jakiro pop up more and more lately, but in the current lineup, I don't see an obvious synergy. Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with Jakiro. It's just that I'm curious about how they want to play it. It's not going to be so obvious as, say, when you grab a Jakiro with a Faceless Void, you really just want to land that Macro Pyre inside the Chronosphere. Nothing so obvious here. Keeper of the Light, no lockdown for him. So there's no real setup for Ice Path, no real AoE lockdown to combo up with Macro Pyre as we see it yet, other than Jakiro's own Ice Path. Dire going to grab a Weaver. That's looking to be their offlaner. Io, Shadow Demon, Tiny, incredibly defensive early game. Not going to have any possibility of going on the offensive and giving Weaver a solo lane. Once in a while we can see Weaver in toward mid, but given that they have Tiny as well, having an additional solo laner up top would likely be cutting the farm kind of thin. I expect more of an AoE controller, a team fight controller that doesn't need quite as much farm as the Tiny and Weaver headed toward mid, something perhaps like a Puck. I would be a little surprised at Queen of Pain. She's very popular right now, but I'm not sure she necessarily fits in with what the Dire is doing right now. Waiting on the 4th pick from Radiant before we can get the last bans from either side. Still looking to fill out their own mid and offlaner here. So a question they could ask themselves right now is, if we grab our mid, we can lock that down, remove it from the pool, and get that, and then get their own mid, and then ban out the opposition's mid. But just a second here as I close out for the moment. There we go. Waiting now. A lot of time spent here on this 4th pick. Getting low on reserve time. Seem really unsure here.
10 seconds remaining.
Getting down to the wire. And it's Puck, so the Radiant gonna grab that. No option for Dire to pick it, as I thought might work quite well for them. But again, I'm looking for more of a team fight, disabler, initiator kind of hero to come out from Dire. Another that may work would be a Beastmaster. Haven't seen quite as much of him. Treant removed by Dire with their final ban. Radiant's going to be needing their own offlaner. Dire's going to be needing a mid. And even using up some reserve time with this final ban goes with Khrrck. That would be an old school mid right there. Not going to be seeing it. Io, potentially, I guess, if they chose the Khrrck, they do the usual Shadow Demon Khrrck combination, they'd have to end up putting Io mid, which would be also interesting. But no such ideas going to even be able to be considered by Wardmancer. With that final ban of Khrrck headed into reserve time, making ample use both sides of their available time. 10 seconds left. Again, we're looking for a mid here.
5 seconds remaining.
And Mirana. All right. One of these utility heroes. I think of her as very similar to how Windrunner works, and Beastmaster selected. I'm just calling out these Radiant heroes, even though I meant Dire. Beastmaster looks like he's headed toward the off lane. And while I was mentioning old school laning, Beastmaster off lane, an old school option. But actually, wait a second. Let's take a look at the Radiant side to see why that doesn't actually make a whole lot of sense to me. The aforementioned Beastmaster will be taken up by Wabu. I guess he's going to be... I'm going to wait and see where he goes. Could be mid. Down toward bottom. And first onto the field, NBT playing the Phantom Lancer. To join him will be Cryptic Dark on the Keeper of the Light and Grand Duke of Owls on the Jakiro. That's gotta be one of my favorite names I've seen so far in Inhouses. And then toward the mid, we've got our captain, Swagasaurus, on the puck. The Dire side moving out is one. Up front is the captain, Wardmancer. Right behind him is HeckTIC on Mirana. Brocrates on Tiny. Shoring up the rear are Weaver, played by Khrrck. And then Shadow Demon, played by Mustache. There's the initiation with the avalanche on Jakiro. He's able to get away, but they lock down Keeper of the Light with the tether stun. First blood is there. Jakiro gets very low. They get 2 kills there. Io takes the kill. Who grabbed the last hit? It's Mustache with the first blood. 450 gold on him. Throwing down a ward as well. An invis picked up by Tiny. And are they dual laning this? Looks like they're dual laning this, which isn't necessarily too terrible when you've got an Io on the field, and it's a dual mid. Chaos Knight with Io is, we've seen a lot of dual mid, at least in professional games. I have not seen that combo in an in-house game as of yet, but Io Tiny I'm not familiar with. Doesn't mean that there's any problem doing it. I just haven't seen it. Puck gonna do just fine here. I don't feel like there's any kill potential though on Io Tiny, really. Especially early on when it comes to going up against the puck. Up top, It's Weaver against Beastmaster, and this is just not going to go well for Beastmaster. Now, I mentioned that that while I thought Beastmaster at first was going to go off lane, I got surprised because when I thought about it, he's on the Radiant. Well, why is that? Well, on the Dire side, if you're over here in the off lane, you can throw out your axes right here. And that will aggro the Ancients, and you'll be able to stack the Ancients without actually having to go all the way around. And that's really helpful to be able to stay in lane, stack those, and then farm them later on to catch up in levels. But on the Radiant side, you don't have that option. Much further on, you'd have to walk all the way here, and it's just not going to be very efficient. He's going to have slightly better luck in a 1v1 scenario, but he's almost forced to bottle Khrrck up against the Weaver, and he's just forced back. He's just giving up on it, moving out. Perhaps just going to dedicate himself to farming Ancients or move down to bottom to help out with an aggressive try line, saying this is just not working. They're harassed from Tiny, but not going to necessarily be able to trade all that well up against the Puck. Very low armor on Tiny at level 1, 0 on him. Down towards bottom, this dual lane seems to be doing just fine. If we check out the last hits, though, not the best, but they're getting experience, certainly. Phantom Lancer and Weaver leading the way, 15 with 4 denies on the Phantom Lancer, 14 with 5 on the Weaver. As a lance thrown on Mirana. In towards mid, Puck being aggressive. Avalanche goes out, follow-up tether stun. Maybe overextended. Puck gets low, but not dead. Is able to orb and jaunt out. An illusion rune picked up by Mirana. Gonna spread those around the map. Oh, the orb up. Silence. Avalanche gonna turn this around. Puck. Oh my, phase shift almost gave them the chance. 17 HP on the Tiny. Very close exchange. Swagasaurus cannot believe it. And that's 3-0 now. First kill in the laning phase. Weaver getting aggressive. Pokes up. There's a little pot shot with Germinate. Beastmaster out of regen. Picks up boots. Really, to sustain in this lane, he needed to pick up a bottle, I think, and bottle Khrrck as necessary, as it is. Just having just an incredibly rough time up here against the Weaver. Weaver with 19 hits, last hit, 7 denies, up against 4 last hits, no denies on the Beastmaster. This middle lane trading evenly here. And that kill working out very nicely. Bottle picked up by Tiny. No bottle as of yet on the Puck. Up top, Beastmaster getting low. There's a swarm not able to finish him off. And Beastmaster going to have to head back to Fountain to heal up. He'll at least be able to grab his boots while he's there. Invis rune picked up by Tiny. Bottle that up. Is actually going to rotate and head down toward bottom. No vision here from Radiant, so they couldn't see him pick up that invis. Here comes Tiny, gonna head down. Oh, heads within tower range, so easily spotted, backed up, hits the avalanche, but no follow-up end. That just didn't work out. The coordination not quite there. Out of Dire, going to try and work out those kinks as they move along. As it is, they survive, and now it could be turned around as there's 4 from Radiant up here. Ice Path just misses. Beastmaster throws out some axes for harass. Dream Coil out, catches on the Shadow Demon. Puck jaunts up, going to go. Self-disruption, going to buy some time. Follow up Ice Path, walks right into it, and down goes Shadow Demon. Mustache, wrong place, wrong time. It took 5 down bottom, though. And that leaves Weaver up here to free farm. Not that he wasn't already doing that up against Beastmaster. But they get a kill. The gank out and rotation from Dire did not work out.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now if we check out toward mid, we see Puck TPing back in. Got to keep an eye on IO's levels at this point. Level 4. Wants to get up level 6 as soon as possible. Tiny already there. Beastmaster has headed up toward this off lane once again. Gonna eat up some experience under the tower, but not really getting much with the last hits there. Puck actually just foregoing bottle entirely. Looks like he's working on treads. A little unusual that he goes the glove of haste first. I can't imagine he's going Midas, so I still imagine those are treads he's working on. Got a medallion done for Weaver, shipping that out to him. Oh, in towards mid, we got going aggressive under the tower. No TP reaction though, Dream Coil used. If we had the TP reaction, there was opportunity for 1, maybe 2 kills there, but as it is, Brocrates going to get away with about 100 HP. Up top, Wabu taking a bunch of damage once again. Neck and neck still are Phantom Lancer and Weaver. Double damage picked up by Tiny on the top rune. Vision a little light on both sides. We've only got the single ward out of Radiant, none on the side of Dire. Gonna want to get those up at ASAP. Gonna be quite scary move without being able to spot any of these rotations. Tiny gonna try and swing all the way around. May end up incidentally bumping into Keeper of the Light. He goes the right direction now. Now gonna try and dive. Oh no, Wabu! Wrong place, wrong time, buddy, and down he goes. The rotation from Tiny works out. Double damage, completely unnecessary. But Brocrates picks up the kill there. Puck peeks up, not going to be able to do anything even if he saw him. Little pressure coming out on that top tower, down to 348 HP. The dual lane bottom, got level 4 on the Shadow Demon, level 4 on the Mirana. And can't say that's working out the best. They're both out leveling this. Well, they're out leveling Jakiro. Keeper of the Light actually at level 4 as well. And the score 5-1 right now, but that's the one weakness. I feel like the bottom lane isn't getting a whole lot done for what's invested in it. There's a disruption. Follow up Ice Path. Going to force the disengagement. In a 2v3, Shadow Demon and Mirana not going to be able to do much. Up top, we have the IO TPing in, but they're just out of range. Can he catch up? Weaver going to leap forward. Avalanche not close enough. Going to continue to dive. Spirits, can they get the job done? There we go. Just in time. Last second there. And that's a dominating streak on the IO. Earn charge instantly canceled out. Not sure what happened exactly. Oh, up top. Dream Coil used to catch Weaver, and Puck able to actually get the solo kill. That's a big kill up top. So Dire looking good here, but a big kill out from Swagasaurus on the Weaver. Gonna help out and keep Radiant nice and competitive. Allows Phantom Lancer to move out in front on the last hit board. Some pressure coming out on the tier 1, but plenty of time to react from Dire. They shouldn't really be able to get this tower unless they want to just straight up give it up.
Guys,
And yeah, they're just not even going to bother forcing it. Just a bit of damage and then backing off. Weaver's now in toward mid. As IO level 6. Actually down toward bottom. Curious rotation there. Now comes Tiny. Going to catch up to his tethered buddy. Let's take a peek at where Phantom Lancer is. He's gone for Yasha first. Going to buff up a nice collection of stats, some extra movement speed. Can expect a defusal next. They're poking around looking for a pickoff. Arrow goes out, not able to find anyone. Keeping the light up pretty far. Channeling Illuminate. They don't spot him. Hits on Mirana. Weaver with the haste rune. Got to keep an eye on that on the mini-map as we're continuing to try and find a pickoff. Or the Dire. Beastmaster backs off, so doesn't have to worry about that haste. Perhaps it's going to take this opportunity to turn this into a push, but it could be very difficult up against the Keeper of the Light down here. But still 4 dedicated to this bottom lane. Shadow Demon, wrong part of town. Walks right into Illuminate. Follow up. Spirit Lance does a lot of damage, but looks like Disruptor with the disruption could be able to get away. No, the Roar goes out. Ice Path finishes him. And now Io in a lot of trouble. Eats an Illuminate very low. Goes down to the illusion from Phantom Lancer. Now Mirana low. Down here, we've got Tiny going down. This turning into a disaster. Weaver joins the fight, though. Now going to try and go on the Beastmaster. Beastmaster pretty tanky at this point, though. Ends up having to turn around. Runs into the puck. Now going to go out on him. Dream Coil is available. And with a bunch of Radiant heroes, this could end up being used, being chased down, taking a lot of damage. There's Dream Coil. Going to continue to try and go on puck. Going to need to phase shift the last attack. No. Gets stunned by the Dream Coil. No follow-up out of Phantom Lancer. Jakiro. Puck gets away, eating a lot of damage. Weaver not able to bring down anyone after with that rotation. And that bottom fight goes a long way towards Radiant evening this up. In fact, I think they probably have done it with that. As we look, yes, indeed, they catch up in experience. Gold still going to Dire's advantage. They do have the only tower taken so far in this game. But looking quite even at this point. We have a TP gang toward bottom. Very aggressive. Dust used, trying to go on Phantom Lancer. The disruption used. Perhaps a bit of miscommunication. Not the best timing, but looks like they'll still be able to get it with the Demonic Purge. And Io leaves. But they may have just not been in position. The disruption allows Tiny to catch up. Mirana leaps out of there. Going to pick herself up an Invis rune.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Denies that, and that's a big kill on the Phantom Lancer. Mirana is level 6 now. So that Moonlight Shadow. No, it was Moonlight something. Moonlight Shadow, global invis for her team is available if they want to use that to go in for pickoffs in a manner other than having to rotate in plain sight or with the IOTP. Weaver up to 1,500 gold, waiting on the next item selection out of him. I'm hoping he hits 1,600 and goes in for that Mithril Hammer, going straight Desolator, but could use perhaps right now relying on Ring and Basilius for his regen. TP headed out toward bottom, but not able to find anyone.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Didn't
attack.
see who they were going on. That may have just been a Phantom Lancer illusion that they were trying to TP in on, and it ends up this time not working out. The positioning hasn't been perfect, but as I say that, puck in towards mid. Dream Coil gets all three, trying to back up. Gets hit by the bugs by Weaver, but he'll survive. Weaver goes low, as does Io, but not able to finish anyone off. A lot of damage going out on both sides, but everybody survives.
Tower is under attack.
What we've seen so far, the Io Tiny teleports have been pretty well selected, but the TP location's slightly off. We saw up top having to try and chase down Beastmaster. Down towards bottom, a little out of range of Phantom Lancer or Jakiro. Toss and silence comes out from Puck. Gonna orb out, illuminate, but now Keeper of the Light up too far with that channel. Macropyre doing a good amount of damage, but everybody going to get away. The Beastmaster gets the roar on Tiny. Nice pick off there as he rotates around from top. And it goes 1 for 1, but Radiant can be happy with that trade, trading a Keeper of the Light for that Tiny. Tiny right now sitting on 2,200 gold, could have half of an Aghanim Scepter if that's the route he wanted to go. Or if he wants to go more mid-game centric, could pick up a Blink Dagger right now. Oh, the silence Dream Coil used going to actually go on Weaver in toward mid. Shikuchi trying to survive, gets killed by snapping that Dream Coil. And another nice pick off from Swagasaurus on the Weaver. Tiny could be the target once again. Roar not up though. Another 15 seconds now. Illuminate charging up. Nice hit on both Tiny and Io. In the jungle, Mirana getting aggressive on the Jakiro, but gonna have to back up. Not gonna want to go any further. Wards side by side here. In towards mid, we had an Avalanche. Actually able to get the kill on Keeper of the Light. Gets slow, but survives. Bottom right now, Shadow Demon in a 1v1 scenario up against Phantom Lancer as Mirana rotates back down. Spirit Lance does a bit of harass to Mirana. She'll be fine, but Puck looks like he's going to initiate and tries to use Moonlight Shadow to get away as Leap was on cooldown, but the fade time too long. Gets finished off, and now some pressure going out on this tier 1 bottom.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And as I was mentioning, the IO combination was looking good. OTP gank goes in. Tiny's there. Avalanche on Puck. But no, the disruption interrupts that. End up being counter-effective. And this is getting turned around now. Tiny very low. Puck very low. Mustache sitting in the Macropyre goes down. Now Phantom Lancer going to try and turn this around on the Mirana. Not able to. Takes a few tower hits, backs off, but ends up going 3 for 0. Everybody surviving for Radiant. 3 go down for Dire. Hard to say how that whole fight would have played out either way. Deny on the tier 1 by Mirana. But the one thing I'm pretty sure of is that it looks like that disruption, the miscommunication from the Dire team on the order of operations on that Puck ended up costing them at least that kill. Puck ends up surviving. Io and Tiny initiated, but at the same time, a disruption coming out. As that happened, more help came in from Radiant and turned that right around. 3 for 0. Now, for the first time in this game, the Radiant team is in the lead in kills. And as I was mentioning earlier, and as I keep trying to say that, we have another initiation. Keeper of the Light in a ton of trouble. Instantly bursted down with Avalanche and Toss. Arrow goes out, just misses. Nabs a creep instead.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
was that the Radiant lanes were looking good in mid and top. Tiny and Io getting a lot done, but that bottom lane did not seem to have a whole lot of effect or purpose. Tiny invis towards bottom as he went Shadow Blade. Actually misses with the Avalanche, just throws out a toss. Beastmaster not going to be able to get the kill there. Keep the Light actually got the kill on Io as they were split up. Tiny now joining his pals. They're still pressuring, looking to pick off this tier 2 tower, it looks like. But once again being held off. Tiny, if he goes Aghanim Scepter, does a ton of damage to buildings, but in this case, aside from not having a whole lot of push on the rest of their team, they're not even going that build on Tiny. So the actual push available is minimal on Dire. So trying to push into
That dude's top is all nasty and brokey.
a Keeper of the Light is a tall task. Going to have to continue to look for pickoffs as we have a disconnect. Puck grabs the Blink Dagger. Would have liked to have that a lot earlier, but has it now, and that should help out. We check out our heroes right now. Phantom Lancer well on top of the board. Yasha Diffusal Drums. Gonna have to wait and see if NBT goes for the full Manta style or grabs a heart. Mirana sitting on treads and a magic wand. Io working toward mech, already has an urn. Tiny, as we saw with that Shadow Blade, was his item choice. Jakiro actually finished his mech, so that will be very nice for the Radiant. While Beastmaster looks like he's going to be the one to pick up the pipe. Just about done his Hood of Defiance. He could finish it if he picks up his Ring of Health right now. He has enough gold. But the state of the game right now, Radiant looking good. Now working on about a 7,500 experience advantage. Not quite as much in gold, but still looking pretty nice there as well. To make this bottom lane have been worth it, I feel like we need to be seeing more use of that Moonlight Shadow as initiation. And so far, I haven't been able to see that. It's difficult, though, as right now the lineup for the Dire side is set up for pickoffs. Weaver's pretty good at chasing you down if you're caught out 1v1. Io and Tiny, of course, very much about going on those isolated heroes. But the Radiant side is content to just sit back in safe locations and farm. Phantom Lancer building up his arsenal. If this goes late, he's just not going to be stopped. Tiny can actually do quite well against Phantom Lancer if he's going for a carry build, but right now he's going for a semi-carry ganking build with the Shadow Blade. Not going the Aghanim Scepter build. Not going for treads. Looking very much at using his burst damage, his magical burst damage, to combine up with Io to dish it out. And because of that, they don't really have anything up to deal with the Phantom Lancer late. But they don't have the ability to push down towers, really, with Keeper of the Light. And without being able to push down towers, without that map control, it becomes much harder to get those Io ganks off. So with the time that you have, though, Though Dyer is down the Shadow Demon right now. I'm not sure if they are in communication, if his internet went out or what. But either way, they need to be looking at what is the plan here. What do they need to do to make something happen to win this game? IO ganks as often as possible, yes. But are you going to be able to perpetually lock down and kill off this Phantom Lancer? Is there a way that you can make it so that they can? If not, what do you need to do? What do you need to change it up? Can you split push down towers then, since you can't really push in against this Keeper of the Light? It's not working. Weaver can do quite well with split push. Mirana actually does relatively well with split push as well with that Starstorm. Sorry. But she doesn't really have the mana regen to do that, so a bit limited in that regard, but at least Weaver, pretty good with that. So if you had him pushing up top and then 4 pushing bottom, for example, perhaps that's an idea that they could be going for. Maybe push in a lane as 5 and then rotate to another lane if Keeper of the Light shows up. Just looking for what options the Dire has available to try and shut this down, because it is, while the lead is not overwhelming, this game is not over at all, and the score 12-11 very close. I have to say it's starting to look very favorable for the Radiant. No status updates. Let's take a look at hero levels right now. Mirana down at the same level as Keeper of the Light, not where she wants to be at all. I mean, Mirana can be played as a support, but that was not really her role in this game. Io has gotten his own levels, so that's been nice in this game and has helped out with these ganks. But Tiny sitting at level 11 now, a lot of rotations behind. It actually only even up with the Beastmaster, who we saw had a pretty rough start up top, though it was a solo lane. But Puck and Famlance are leading the way in levels. Net worth, though, as we saw already, NBT on that Phantom Lancer well out in front. The next two, though, go the way of the Dire, and then Puck right behind them. Not the highest farming game. Net worth's relatively low for 22 minutes in. But that's mostly the case across the board outside of the PL. And we can see a big part of that being that Phantom Lancer, 4 kills on him to only 1 death along with 3 assists. The Weaver, as good as he was doing up top, 0-2. Looks like no communication right now. Would be unfortunate. An interesting game going on right now. Would like to see the conclusion. Beastmaster, man. And keep that sound going. It's soothing. A nice background. Ah, yeah. It'll just, some nice white noise to get you to sleep at night. But the positioning on the map, we've got Shadow Demon still down toward bottom, joined up by the Weaver. With Beastmaster TPing out, it's a 2v2 scenario, but they're not really able to do anything. So I'm not sure what the plan is to be down here. I mean, if they just wanted to protect the tower, Weaver can kind of hold them off for the time being. If there's a full push, like, they're not going to be a stop it either way. So I think Shadow Demon would be better served rotating elsewhere. Tiny's just taking out this wave up top. You're actually farming up a camp in the jungle. Already got the mech, though. Long wait here, not sure what's going on. As we're still looking for Mustache, who's disappeared off the face of the earth. Looks like he's reconnected, though. So hopefully we'll be underway very shortly. Despite the first tower going the way of the Dire side, now all 3 tier 1s down for Dire and no additional towers being able to be picked up by Dire. Looks like we're ready to go. And with that, we're underway once again. Again, looking for the change up in strategy here, looking to make more things happen on the map out of the Dire. Tiny gonna grab an illusion rune, activate an illusion rune, have that bottle. Just like Enchantress, when I punch you, my fist goes really slow. Marana looking to make up a few levels here. Grabbing some experience here in mid. Vision, another factor in this game that is lacking just a little bit. Once again, we only have 1 ward up out of the Dire, nothing on the Radiant. So that makes it more scary. Like, not having an eye on that IO means TP ganks are just that much more concerning. But gonna go on the puck with the Shadow Blade, able to initiate and get that kill. And now they'll grab a mid tower, looking good there. A couple nice pickups. Getting a kill, a tower. And that's one step in the right direction.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
The tier 2 is pushed up, but this is a dangerous position. Up too far, especially for the lack of vision that they have right now. Do we have dust or sentries or anything here? Nobody carrying, so Phantom Lancer under no threat. Unless they're able to burst him under chain stun from 100 to 0. But not even able to get a single hit out on him. He'll back off, and just in time, they're out of there. Now this TP's bottom. Gonna try and go on the IO. But that they were already TP'd over, so auto TP back. Got a congregation over here by the Dire Secret Shop. Dust picked up for IO to help out if they want to go in for the kill on the Phantom Lancer. Tiny now going for Aghanim Scepter. It is a nice bonus in damage. The AoE going to help out with Phantom Lancer. but still not quite the same as going directly for it. I heard a disruption that is actually catching up to the Jakiro, who gets bursted down with Avalanche and Toss. Now this looks like it's going to be another tower. So, immediately, as I was saying, they're starting to make things happen, but they grabbed that courier that was up too far. Mirana trying to disengage with Moonlight Shadow. Mustache dies to the Dream Coil. Now Io in a lot of trouble, but they get the kill on Puck. And that ends up being a 2-for-1 trade if you count the Jakiro pickoff. Getting the Puck. I mean, even just the Puck for the Shadow Demon would have been worth it for Dire, but they're not done there. Gonna burst down the Keeper of the Light, but Io traded for it. Roar even used to make sure the kill. Spirit Lance throwing out. Tiny goes invis with Shadow Blade. No dust. And able to get away. That trade not quite as good, losing the IO for the Keeper of the Light. But Phantom Lancer sitting on 3,500 gold. Looks like he's going to be just straight up grabbing a Reaver, most likely. And still looking very good, well out in front on the net worth board. 3,500 ahead of the next closest in Tiny. But Weaver right up there with them, so the dual carry strat looking to keep up. And in fact, Mirana's actually caught up in terms of at least net worth to the Puck, but levels still relatively low. Still waiting on the purchase out of Phantom Lancer, almost 4,000 gold on him now. 4 sentries sitting on Jakiro, so they don't want to deal with any more of this Shadow Blade nonsense out of the Tiny. He's very close to an Aghanim Scepter himself. Oh, PL gets hit by an arrow, but the silence going to dissuade. And he continued initiation. Puck catches up. Dream Coil used. Mirana stunned up. Ice Path catches Mustache. He goes down. Mirana hit. Now Purge looks like she's in a lot of trouble. Gets brought down as well. There's 2 kills for free. All even up on the kill board. 16-16. Dire was looking like they were trying to bring this back in their favor, but Radiant, having none of it, gets some kills of their own. Experience graph, as I saw, was coming back down. Now it's going back up. Gold is evened out completely.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And Weaver has been split pushing up top while that was going on. As mentioned, that was an opportunity for them. Io. What? Can Io get a courier pick off too? No, not able to get the courier. It was haste. They did use their charge, but Jakiro and Beastmaster walk right past without even seeing him. Beastmaster is like a dinosaur. He can't see you if you don't move. Stealth IO getting it done. Even gets a pot shot off on the courier as we have an arrow used on Beastmaster. Disruption used for Weaver to catch up. The medallion used on him. Ice Path locks down the big damage dealer. Purge used though, so he's dead. A lot of damage on Mirana and Shadow Demon. Jakiro even thinking about pursuing. Puck engages, but gets stunned up for a second. Going to get Mustache on the Shadow Demon, but could he trade his own life? No, Weaver in a ton of trouble. He gets brought down. Puck survives as well. Double kill goes the way of NBT. That goes 1 for 3. Took too long to kill the Beastmaster. Rotation was there. 2 more kills go the way of Phantom Lancer, who has on the courier a full Heart of Tarask, and he's sitting on another 1,200 gold. This is looking very scary at this point. The overall gold and XP is still close. Actually, experience getting pretty far once again with 7,500. Oh, the tether in. There's the dust. Going to try and bring down the PL. Can they do it? Going to try and catch up. They need another stun to bring him down. Marana leaps up. There's the toss. The dust going to run out soon. It runs out, but the spirits finish him off. Double. Actually, no. The Tiny ends up getting the kill. And that's a double kill for Tiny. A nice pick-off return kill. Overstaying is welcome. Fortunately, Phantom for him, and BT has spent his gold, picked up that full-hearted Tarrasque. But that was not enough to heal him up. And the next item is where it gets completely out of control. But the initiation coming out. Macropyre Puck. There's the Silas. Dream Coil used. Catches Io and Shadow Demon. But they get back the support out of Tiny and Marana there. But Ice Path hits on two. Weaver in a lot of trouble. Time lapses back. Io gets very low. Io gets brought down. Beastmaster behind the action while everybody goes on Tiny. They get Tiny while the rest of the Dire team gets away. But that's 2 kills for free. Jakiro gets the last hit on Tiny. 21-19. And what I was trying to say before that, the next item out of Phantom Lancer, the Manta style. That's where it gets really out of control. That's where I say that's where Phantom Lancer has hit his stride. And snowballs out of control. If you get it at a decent clip, you get the Diffusal Manta Heart. Those are the 3 items. Once he has that, becomes a split push monster damn near impossible to kill. And how do you even deal with it? I'm not sure that the Dire side has the lineup to. So they need to keep making things happen. Phantom Lancer, MBT getting weird, but is marching way far up. But just not being afraid at all of what Dire can throw at them, especially with Tiny off the map. Just respawning up now. Aghanim Scepter is done, so he has that cleave, additional building damage, some additional damage. Puck actually caught up top with no mana. Once he has 75 mana, though, he can blink down. He can blink down. He can blink down. There you go, Swagasaurus. Up top, we can have a fight, though. Tiny going on the Phantom Lancer. They're going to try and catch up once again. They're having a hard time locking him down. They're not able to burst him down quickly. The Ice Path, they're going to try and turn this around. Tiny gets caught in it, but not much damage going out on him. Io ends up being the target. He gets brought down. Tiny down at about 3rd health, but not going to continue to go on with Spirit Lance throwing out, but PL low health. Go try and regen up with that Heart of Tarrasque. Weaver trying to chase, going to turn and go on the Keeper of the Light. He does get the kill there with the Germinate. Now Puck trying to go on the Weaver, not able to chase him. Weaver turns around, no good, TP out. That fight ends up going the way of the Dire game, 2 for 1. Trade game, 2 supports for 1. Perhaps an Assault Cuirass coming up next out of Tiny. That's going to be my guess. Weaver has grabbed himself a Manta style. Mustache, what have you grabbed? A Yule Scepter. The recipe, at least. Needs the Staff of Wizardry and Voidstone still to finish that off. Perhaps grab that in danger of dying, not wanting to lose that unreliable gold. Aghanim Scepter on Puck. That's something we almost never see. I actually don't even know what it does on Dream Coil. Presumably extended duration and perhaps additional damage. Scepter damage, break damage 300 instead of 200. Scepter coil duration 6 is 8 instead of 6. So we rarely see this, and by the numbers, it doesn't sound that great, to be honest, and that may be why we don't see it all that much. We'll have to see how it ends up getting used in this game. The coil has been very big, so upping that, seeing that that's been a major factor in team fights, very nice to have, make that even stronger. Perhaps that is the thought process coming out of Swagasaurus. The IO does have the mech and urn, so able to heal a ton. They're trying to chase him down, though. The Spirit Lance able to catch up. Double damage on the Phantom Lancer, going to tether away, though. Puck throws out an orb. Not going to go aggressive on that, though. You're forced back to the tier 3s, and what are you going to do if you're scared to leave your base when your team is running an IO? Experience at this point should be still sitting around 7,500. Gold catching up in that regard, also looking near 7,500. Oh, arrow hit on Keeper of the Light, but there's no follow-up with that. Just being annoying is Marana. Both sides moving as 5 could end up with a fight here in mid. Puck has the ability to initiate. Could blink up here. Looking at about this range, I think, for that 1,100 for that blink dagger. What? 1,200 for the blink dagger. And we're waiting just to see the next step here. Phantom Lancer not split pushing at the moment, so that is something that could be lost, but perhaps afraid of the TP gank on him, not wanting to risk that. However, Jakiro going up, so if they were concerned, there it is. Gonna try and catch up. The Shadow Blade, no Ice Bath, gonna hold them back. Dust, I believe, accident. Oh my, well, Dust used, perhaps just to be able to see that Tiny's gonna catch up to him. Toss with Avalanche. Ice Path again. Is Jakiro going to get away? He is. Io actually leaves Tiny there, and that may be an unfortunate idea, but able to TP out. Oh, the Ice Bath just late. If he wound up just a little earlier, they could have gotten him, but the blind Ice Path, a very good idea, just not quite in time.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
There's a Staff of Wizardry up on Mustache. Up top, Swagasaurus and company pushing out this top lane. Wabu has had a nice turnaround from the rough early start. Has a pipe on him. Trying to see if they could grab themselves a PL, but not able to lock him down. Again, the net worth 5,500 ahead. He's just about a full butterfly ahead of the next closest. Opts to get the next level of Diffusal before finishing up the Manta, which is perfectly reasonable. A lot of damage from that toss. Tiny. But Dream Coil used, looking to reinitiate. Going to go on the Tiny. Is the Spirit Lance locked down by the Roar? Is Mustache who gets focused down. Now Weaver getting low health. Tiny in a lot of trouble. Throws out a toss and tries to Shadow Blade back. Stunned up, but going to be able to get away. That ends up, all in all, just being a kill on Shadow Demon and no one else. Io eating an Illuminate to his round, undefined face. Doesn't die from that. And able to back up. Looks like they may be forcing the issue. We have not seen Roshan be taken down as of yet in this game, unless I'm being senile. Looking at 40 minutes in. Looking at 600 away from Manta Style.
Bad dudes, middle tower, everyone go!
Io gets down, getting cute to tether back up to the high ground. Continuing to try and force this out. PL split pushing the mid tower as well. A good choice, I think, for being able to put a lot of pressure, but it's already backed up by the time the rotation comes in. And they're just going to get all 3 lanes pushed up. Phantom Lancer headed towards bottom. And the delay is just here with the 4 up top. Perhaps now is the time. They see Phantom Lancer down bottom to try and force a fight. However, he does have the boots of travel, so if they're not quick about it, he can be right back in it. They are trying to go here. Roar wound up. Doesn't get cast, though. They able to get Puck. Io getting focused down. Phantom Lancer has joined the fight. Tiny is up chasing the Beastmaster Jakiro. Behind the scenes, we had Phantom Lancer trying to go on the supports. Only Io has gone down so far, as we do have the Moonlight Shadow used by Mirana, who then escapes. Spirit Lance thrown out on Phantom Lancer. The disruption goes out, but only catches the illusion. Go turn around and pick off the Shadow Demon before backing off once again. Low on mana, though. Now going to purge and try and go on Tiny, but he'll be able to Shadow Blade away. And fortunate for him, avoiding that Sentry Ward down up top. Spirit Lance thrown out on Weaver. Has the Talisman of Evasion on him. Looks like he's working at Butterfly. Just the illusions themselves doing a ton of damage here. Phantom Lancer nowhere to be seen. And the rest of Radiant is just backed off, healing up, grabbing a few creep camps. Just going to regroup before headed back in. And perhaps why we haven't seen a Roshan being taken as of yet is, at least for the Radiant, they haven't gotten this tier 2 bottom. Once they get that, they'll may feel more secure about their map control to go in there and pick themselves up an Aegis. PL sitting on 5,600 gold. Spirit Lance hits on Mustache, almost brought down between that and the illusions. Gets under half health. Now, with everyone on the Radiant side over here, they could be looking to force a fight to take Roshan.
Invisibility.
And in we go. Said in we go. Come on, guys. There you go. Now comes the Roshan fight. And just going to forgo the Manta style for now. As an Eagle Song is couriering out the rest of his Butterfly. So that will be finished. And with that, Phantom Lancer just needs to finish up Manta, and he's effectively 6-slotted. Could replace the Boot Drum of Endurance with something super late, but otherwise, no room. And it should be somebody else picking up that Aegis. It's Puck. Oh, Puck getting very aggressive. Actually goes up toward the high ground. Silence thrown out. Oh, long range Spirit Lance trying to catch up to the Weaver. Shikuchi's away. Not able to catch up to him. 25-23 the score, but I don't feel that adequately explains the advantage right now towards Radiant. They have the Aegis as well. They're going to be able to force tier 3, at least a fight here. Looking at near 10,000 experience, 10,000 gold. And Phantom Lancer being way out in front now, 8,000 gold ahead of the next closest. I mean, that's the Butterfly Yasha ahead. Those two items. Shadow Demon walking right into a Spirit Lance and some right clicks. Instant death. And that should be the cue to go. Shadow Demon not going to put the most in the anti-push, but with someone down, already having the Aegis anyway, this is the initiation. There we go. Blink in from Puck, uses the Dream Coil. Not a whole lot of follow-up. Roar actually goes out on an illusion. Phantom Lancer in the thick of things right now, getting stunned up repeatedly, but going to survive just fine. The Aegis is popped on Puck, but they're continuing to push on this tier 3. Still under Shadow Blade is Tiny. All in all, able to hold them off for now. Aegis popped, and you have to call that a win for Dire. I actually missed a kill on Puck. How did Puck end up there? Overstepping his bounds and overstaying his welcome. Brought down Manta style on Mirana. I wonder about the utility of the Manta style Going to wait and see how much effect she ends up getting out of that. They got 2 Manta Styles on their team, so a lot, perhaps trying to create their own illusion army to try and deal with Phantom Lancer. I think an Orchid also could have worked in this game. Mirana could do for both the additional mana regen, attack speed, and especially the silence. A lot of good targets for the silence. Beastmaster to prevent the roar, Puck to prevent the initiation, Phantom Lancer to prevent the Doppel walk away. Mirana gonna run into Wabu. There's the roar thrown out. Axes, don't think he'll alone be able to get the kill, but with Phantom Lancer joining up with the Purge, Manta used to dispel, but Spirit Lance up, and this will be her death if he can get it off. There it is, and she's down.
On to the next.
Mustache up pretty far as well. Weird Force Staff. That looked like it was a misclick out of Cryptic Dark. Force Staffs himself into the trees. No harm, no foul, as Shadow Demon and Coddle say their hellos as they pass by. Not going to pay too much attention to each other. Mustache up pretty far, throws out a disruption. Gets some illusions for himself. And actually going to get the kill on Keeper of the Light with those Phantom Lancer illusions. That's why we see Shadow Demon as a good pick against Phantom Lancer. Creates his own army, and that can be very scary for the supports on the Phantom Lancer's team to see those turned against them. Goes up. There's a Dream Coil with the silence. Gonna get Tiny. He's roared, locked down. Some craggy exterior locking down the Phantom Lancer, but they're still able to get the kill. Ice Path misses as Wardmancer tethers away and will get away. Mustache up kind of far. Uses the disruption to secure his escape. Arrow hits. HeckTIC found a target. Pipe used, though. Jakiro, no real follow-up. Tiny is on the bench. And who died there? Oh, Weaver got a kill on Keeper of the Light. Puck ends up getting Shadow Demon, now going on the Io. Past tier 3, diving long way. Get the kill on Io. Now going on Mirana. She's able to Manta and get away, and that has been very useful to dispel the Purge. And down go the mid-racks. And GG called. Wardmancer calls it. Got off to a pretty solid start, but not able to keep it going. Not able to really snowball the way they needed to. And Radiant able to turn it around. Phantom Lancer got way out in front. And able to lead to victory. Gaining no fans from the Dire players. Still gonna hate on the PL as we wait for the disconnects and final score screen here. Seems as though there were rotations into 5-man pushes because the pickoffs, well, were showing up here and there. Weren't quite as frequent as Io and Tiny wanted or perhaps even needed, given the Phantom Lancer continuing to farm. So trying to push down some towers, but weren't able to do it up against the Keeper of the Light and that Illuminate. The push on their side were just not strong enough to power through, and that allowed Radiant side to catch up.
Is he still casting?
As we hear the mumble chat. And we'll take a look at the final score screen. Radiant on top. Got a bit behind, be able to turn it around. And Swagasaurus leading them to victory. 10-7 on him, but the Phantom Lancer, the real story, way ahead in net worth. 663 gold per minute, 11-2-13, and able to close it out. So that's been another Reddit Dota 2 League in-house, and I'll catch you next time.